Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you how to play and talking about the game War Chest. Now, War Chest was designed by Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson and was published by AEG. Let me see if I can show that there. Now, this is a game for 2 or 4 players. You cannot play it at 3. It is listed as a 30 to 60 minute game and for ages 14 and up. So I'm going to start right there. Now, the 2 or 4 is 100% true. This game does not play at 3, but it does play very well both at 2 players and at 4 players. At 2 players, it feels like a heads up abstract strategy game with some randomness thrown in, while at a 4-player game, it becomes this team abstract strategy game, which is very different and interesting. Now, the ages 14 and up is probably a pretty good estimate. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of variety of units, and the units will change from game to game. This is one that I think is maybe not for younger players. Now, as for the 30 to 60 minutes, that's a pretty good estimate too. The 30 minutes is good for a 2-player game and 60 for a 4-player game. Could go longer if you have people with quite a bit of analysis paralysis or very evenly matched. But I would say once you've played a couple games of this, you're definitely in that 30 to 60 minute range. At least I have found. So let's have a look at what comes in the box of War Chest. War Chest is a game with, first off, I really gotta slow down because this is a game with amazing production. And this is one of the few occasions where I'm looking at a game that there's no miniatures, there's nothing that was sculpted, but the production is off the charts. The production in this game is amazing. And we're going to start with the fact that the box itself has this lovely magnetic clasp design, which is, it's just extra, but it makes it actually look like a chest the way it opens, which is really cool. Then you have this very flavorful note about how this was given as a gift to someone to teach them about war strategy, given to a young prince who would one day be king of the kingdom. So then we have the rule book. The rule book is printed on a thick kind of almost cardstock type paper, and it's very well done. It contains a fair amount of diagrams and pictures to show you how the game is set up and how maneuvers are done, and the rules are concise and clear. I have no complaints about the rule book. About 15 minutes of reading and you can teach other people. So yeah, very, very well done on the rule book. Next we have these lovely, felt cloth bags. Now you've got 4 of these with the 2 different faction symbols on them. So here we have the wolf, and here we have the raven, and that's because you're each going to have one of these, so you need 2 of them in a 2-player game, but you need all 4 of them for a 4-player game. Next, we have the cards. Now, the cards, they went to go a bit minimalist with this, so you don't have any artwork on the cards. They're 100% functional. You have a symbol, which the symbol completely matches the symbol of the playing piece, so it's very easy to see which card matches up to the playing piece. It tells you how many of that playing piece are in the set. So in the case here of the Berserker, you have crossed axes, which is what the playing piece looks like, and then it says times 5 because there are 5 Berserkers in the set. And then you have the special ability of the Berserker and a diagram showing you how you would do it, which is really nice. So there's lots of these cards. These cards are thick, they're linen finish, they're very well done. Next we have possibly the only component of this that I think I might have a gripe about, which is the board. The board is a bit stiff and it takes a little bit to get flattened out. You definitely might want to put some heavy books on it, but my gripe is really not about that. That's a very minor thing. My gripe is that the board is a bit boring, but it's very functional, and they did go minimalist with the feeling, so I guess it goes with the theme. It goes with the theme of this being kind of a minimalist classic abstract strategy game. It looks like it has wood grain around it, so for its purpose, it's functional. So that is the board. But then we have what is the most amazing components in this game. So I'm going to take this plastic cover off them here, and we have the playing pieces, which are basically poker chips. So for instance, here is one of the poker chips, and you can see there's the unit symbol. And on the other side, they have backs with which are all the same regardless of unit. They have these little keyholes. And now just listen to this. I mean, these are solid and amazing, really well done. I mean, I don't even know if showing them on the camera here can do them justice, but these are just fantastic. They have basic symbols which are easy to recognize even at a distance. For instance, you look at this and you immediately know it's the archer. This is the archer. Then we have some extra ones that are specifically these two here we have are for the Lion faction, and we have another two for the Raven faction. When you're playing, each player takes one of these of their own faction and puts it in their bag. And we have one that is double-sided with both, because this is used as a coin to do a coin toss in the beginning to see who starts with the initiative. And then we have the only bit of cardboard punch-out tokens, which are the spawn points. They're fine. They're normal cardboard punch-out tokens. They're actually linen finish. They feel fairly nice. I do have a minor gripe about the punch-out tokens just compared to how amazing the poker chips are, but I would never complain about cardboard punch-out tokens in any other game, so it kind of feels like I shouldn't complain about them here. It's just because everything else is so amazing that I feel like these are a bit lesser. But yeah, I mean, they're fine. They're cardboard punch-out tokens, and literally these are all the cardboard punch-out tokens for the entire game. Most of the pieces are these amazing poker chips, or coins as they call them in the rulebook. So we're going to head over to the table, and Lynn and I are going to run you through a few turns and show you how this game plays. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about how this game feels, and I'm going to rate it and review it, and we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, so here we can see a two-player game of war chess set up. So in a two-player game, you do not play with these grayed out areas on the side of the board. And to set up, you start by each player takes 6 of these spawn tokens and puts 2 of them on the marked spaces closest to their side of the board. Then you have to decide what method you will use to choose your forces. You can randomly deal out cards to each player, or there is a draft you can do, which is the most tactical method of choosing your forces. Or you can take a fun thematic approach, and there's a handful of examples that are meant to represent historic battles in the back of the book. There are 3 different examples, and it encourages you to come up with some of your own. Now, we are using one of the examples from the back of the book. Lynn, which battle is this meant to represent?
The Battle of Bannockburn.
Yes, the Battle of Bannockburn, which is a battle between the English and the Scottish. And I am playing the English side, and the English side in the Battle of Bannockburn gets cavalry, lancers, footmen, and archers. And then you're playing the Scottish. What do you have?
I have a warrior priest, swordsman, light cavalry, and pikemen.
Yes. So then to start with, you each take your royal coin, which has your faction symbol on it, and put it in your bag for the bag building portion, as well as 2 copies of each of the units that are out there. Then we're going to flip this extra coin, which has the different faction symbols on either side. I am the wolf faction, while Lynn will be playing the raven faction, and we get to see who goes first. So I'm going to flip it on the table so we see, and it is me. So I'm going to start with the initiative. I'm going to take it to my side of the table here, and we each draw 3 of the coins, 3 of the poker chips from the bag, and put it in our hand, keep it secret, and we are ready to begin. So then we're going to take turns taking actions, starting with me, since I have the initiative. So I'm going to play a coin face down, and I'm going to recruit a footman, which I show to my opponent before turning the footman face down and also placing it in my discard area.
I'm going to recruit also a warrior priest.
A warrior priest. I'm going to play a footman out on the board here, so on one of my spawn points.
I'm going to play a pikeman.
I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to recruit another footman.
And I'm going to recruit another warrior priest.
Okay. So now we're going to draw 3 more of our coins. Let's see what we got. Okay, so very good. So I'm going to play a cavalry out on the board there.
I'm gonna play a warrior priest.
I'm going to play this footman token face up to move my footman who is on the board.
Going to recruit a pikeman.
And I'm going to play an archer out onto the board.
And I'm going to recruit another pikeman.
And again, we are going to draw up to our 3 chips. Okay, so I still have initiative. You haven't stolen it from me yet. I'm going to play face-up cavalry on the board to move my cavalry forward 1 space.
I'm going to move my pikeman 1 space.
I'm going to move my archer 1 space.
I'm going to steal your initiative.
Oh, now that can only be done once per turn. We flip the token over and give it to the other player, so I cannot steal it back. I'll have to wait till we draw up 3 tokens again. So for my final play here, I'm going to recruit a cavalry.
I'm going to deploy a swordsman.
Okay, now our bags are empty at this point, which means we refill them with everything in our discard pool here, which includes all the things we have been recruiting. Once we put them in, we give them a good shuffle it up with that lovely clacktastic sound. I love that clacktastic sound. And then we draw 3 more of the poker chips, or coins, as they were. So what do you got? Because you got first now.
I am going to move my pikemen.
Oh, those dastardly pikemen. I'm going to move my cavalry.
Going to move my warrior priest.
I'm going to steal the initiative back.
I'm going to recruit.
I'm going to take control of the spot that my cavalry is on. So my cavalry is on one of those green Celtic cross symbols there. So I get to put one of the spawn points now under the cavalry. And remember, the objective of this game is to get all of your spawn points out. So that is now actually really helping me towards winning. So now as I have taken the initiative back from you, I am going to go first, and I'm going to go by placing a footman out on the board. The footman's ability, normally you can only have 1 of any particular unit on the board, but the footman's ability is that you may have 2 on the board, and playing a footman chip face up allows you to move both of them. Not attack, not do anything else, but move both of them if you want to.
I'm going to control the spot that I'm on.
Very good. I'm going to move my 2 footmen, now doing the ability I just spoke about.
I'm going to move my warrior priest.
Okay, and I am going to play a lancer onto the board right there.
I am going to recruit.
All right, so we draw back up to 3 tokens again. Okay, I still have the initiative. I'm going to play the Lancer's Lancer token for his ability. Now, the Lancer's ability is they can move 1 or 2 spaces in a straight line, and at the end of that straight line, attack someone. So my Lancer is going to move 2 spaces directly forward, followed by attacking the pikeman, but that triggers the pikeman's ability. And what does the pikeman's ability do?
When the pikeman is attacked by an adjacent unit, remove a coin from that unit.
So the Lancer immediately dies, but so does the pikeman. It was a worthy sacrifice because I hate pikemen.
I am going to deploy a light cavalry.
Of course you are. Let's see. I am going to take control of this space here.
I am going to take control of the space here.
I am going to move this archer onto this space there.
And I'm going to move there.
So this is how the game is played. We move around. You can discard a token face down to recruit another one of your poker chips to put in the discard pile, and later when your bag is empty, of course, they get thrown into the bag as part of the bag building aspect of this game. You can discard a token face up to have that particular token on the board move or attack someone adjacent to them, or do their special ability as listed on their card, like how my Lance's ability let him move very fast to attack someone. Or in the case of Lynn's character there, the Pankman, he had an automatic ability if he were to be attacked by someone who was adjacent to him. And you keep playing and keep working on trying to get out all of your spawn points. If you manage to be on an opponent's, like let's say if Lynn's character here was on my spawn point there, and she managed to discard one of her other matching tokens, she would force me to take this one back, and she would replace it with one of her own, so she would not only be bringing herself closer to victory, but also pushing me further away from victory, which is incredibly important. Now, as soon as someone manages to get all of their spawn points, in a case of a two-player game, that is 6 spawn points, if you get all of them out on the board, you win the game of War Chest. So let's head back over to the table, and we're going to talk about how this game feels and how it plays, and then we're going to rate it and review it. Welcome back. So that was how you play a game of War Chest. So now, all right. So first off, I really like the game is really interesting. The game plays as an abstract strategy game, either at 2 or 4 players. It is very much not a complete information game, though. You have that kind of bag building mechanic in it, and the random drawing of pieces reminds me of older games that let you randomly draw pieces for an abstract strategy game like the Duke, except that also you're bag building because you need those pieces in there to move those pieces, to attack with those pieces, to use their special abilities, and to take control of the spawn points, which are what you need to do to win. So there's this thing you can do where you can place one of those pieces on top of that unit that's already out to make it tougher. So if someone attacks it, they just lose one of the pieces from the stack. But doing that takes one of the pieces away that you could use to activate that piece. So you have a tougher piece that's going to activate less often. And the more you lose pieces of that type, also the less often that piece is going to get to activate. And you can only usually have one of each type of any particular unit out on the board. The exception, of course, being the footman, who was in the example game we were showing, whose special ability is to have 2 of him out on the board. The game is fun. That's first off. It is a fun game. It's enjoyable. It's not for people, though, that like complete information abstract strategy games. If you're a person who loves complete information and hates any randomness in your game, there's a lot of randomness in here. Now, if on the other hand you like abstract strategy games but think that usually there's not enough randomness in them, and you were a fan of games with a bit of randomness like, say, the Duke or Jarl, this would be the game for you. This is another game in the same vein as those, with maybe even a bit more randomness because of how you can't move the pieces on the board until you draw the piece in your hand, and then you do a little bit of hand management about when you play what piece and what you play it to do. So if that is the sort of thing that would sound fun to you, I would recommend this game to you. I enjoyed this game. It's not one of my favorite abstract strategies. I think, in my opinion, there might be a little too much randomness in this for me, but it's still a game that I like, and if someone else wanted to play it, I think I could see myself playing it just about any time someone asked. It's just that if I was going to recommend an abstract strategy game to play, I would probably go to one with a little bit less randomness that I might like a little better. So, all in all, I would say that with War Chest, the production is amazing. The mechanics are fun and interesting and different. I really like, I want to talk a little bit about the 4-player variant. You sit around the table in a manner so you alternate sides. One player who's the wolf faction goes, then one player who's the raven faction goes, then the other wolf player goes, then the other raven player goes. And the way you go back and forth, it's really cool. And again, you just get to use the full board. You get to use the shaded out areas on the side, and you have to use more spawn points, and you have to get more spawn points on the board to win. I really like the 4-player game. That is one place where I would play this above other abstract strategy games because there are so few abstract strategy games that let you play 4 players. So now on the 2-player variant, I like it, but there's a lot of other abstracts I like better. At the 4-player variant, there's so few games that are abstract strategy games at 4 players. That's where I could see this hitting the table a lot in the future for me. I also especially think that that's why I'm going to hold on to this game is, one, the production, because aesthetically it's a really nice looking game, really pretty. And also, it fills a very unique niche in being able to play a 4-player abstract strategy game with people. So I struggled with this one. I went back and forth, and I think I'm ready. I'm giving it 7 out of 10 stars. 7 out of 10 stars means I really like this game, and I'm going to play it anytime somebody asks, at least for the foreseeable future. And this, I think, has a reserved spot on my shelf because of specifically the 4-player mode. I really like the 4-player mode, and it is so unique to be able to play an abstract strategy game 4 players like that. But let's get a second opinion. Let's ask Lynn. Lynn, how many stars out of 10 would you give to War Chest?
7.
So Lynn is right there with me. So she also says she really likes this, but at 2 players, she prefers a lot of other games. I think we're both in the same place where we think this game shines is at 4 players. Even though there are a lot of people who are saying they really like it at 2 players, for us, we really like it at 4 players. But let me know down in the comments down below, if you played War Chest, do you prefer it at 2 players or 4 players? And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, either on this video or the game of War Chest, God, feels like a tongue twister, put them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review and tutorial video and you'd like to see us do more like it on the channel, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.